Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we are going to talk about something that apparently we as a nation just have amnesia about that happened a few years ago, all right? Some of you might be surprised to see this footage that I'm going to roll because, of course, you haven't seen anything about this since it happened, right? And that's by design. Okay, obviously the current administration, the mainstream media, nobody wants you to remember what happened over there, okay? But unfortunately, you can't keep things hidden forever, and this has been out in the news, okay? So we're gonna watch what is the Taliban celebrating their 2-year anniversary over the victory of America, and their military capability parade that they put on, right? We're gonna talk about, I'm gonna go through what you're seeing in the video, and then I'm gonna talk about a few other things. We're gonna talk about how much all of this equipment costs, because it's all obviously American military equipment. And we're also going to talk about what this means for both the region and the world going forward, okay? Because it's actually pretty shocking. Not shocking to those of us who know how much we left there, but it's going to be shocking to some people to see. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to roll the footage of the parade, or I guess we could call it, and then I'll talk about what you guys are seeing as we go through it. All right, so we'll potentially stop intermittent and then expand on some things, but that's the way we're gonna do it. All right, so let's roll the video and get to talking about it. Okay, first thing we're gonna see immediately is their troops, okay? And as you see this, that does not look like the Taliban. That looks like a first world equipped nation like America or Australia. What you're seeing here is fully geared and equipped soldiers, top to bottom, ops corps helmets, body armor, radios, American M4s, American, looks like ACOGs maybe, as scopes, optics, and I don't know if these guys, no night vision on these guys, but we'll see in the future part of the video, more night vision, okay? And full military uniforms as well, okay? Doesn't look like a terrorist organization anymore. It looks like a full-fledged military, which is concerning. All right, rolling through. As we get into this next one, okay, it's kind of funny, right? This is actually like the most Taliban thing ever. I think they're kind of just paying homage to their roots here on their mopeds and their turbans. But yeah, next we have razors, as we might call them, okay? These are obviously all American made. What you can see here, more fully equipped troops, and you can see all of the troops here have night vision on. Wow, okay, night vision is crazy expensive. It's a capability they never had before we were there, but there we go, all right? So, again, as we move in here, obviously, standard American-made military Humvees. And then here, what you're seeing here, guys, this is called an RG-33. It's an MRAP. It's a mine-resistant vehicle that we used. We used them in special operations, and really a lot of the military and infantry use these. And yeah, obviously great troop carrier, and scary the fact that they have these. Moving on, as you'll see, going forward, they actually have a fleet of these, not just one or two. They actually have a ton of these, right? Next, you got some, these look like little mini tanks. I'm not sure what these actually are. You can maybe put that in the comment section. All right, here are American-made Strikers, okay? This is another common infantry troop carrier. And yeah, these are super, super expensive as well. And those are American-made Strikers that you're looking at. Fantastic, right? All right, next, okay, there's more Strikers, and looks like Cessna planes. Another fleet of RG-33s. All right, here, guys, what we have is called Mi-17 helicopters. Now, most of these, we bought the ANA, and we taught them how to fly. So when you see a fleet of these are just ANA and ANA pilots who are now Taliban. So those of you who don't know how this works culturally, there's not like a ANA and Taliban, right? Like the second the Taliban started taking over, the ANA all just became Taliban, okay, for the most part. So it's not as black and white as you might think over there. It's very sort of cultural in that way. All right, more RG-33s, tanks, Mi-17 helicopters. All right, more Strikers. And then what we're going to see next, pretty crazy. Okay, this is a Cobra attack helicopter. Okay, the Marines use these pretty frequently for CAS, and the Taliban are flying them above their parade. Fantastic. All right, again, more RG-33s, more looks like mini tanks. Those are probably Russian made. Can't verify where they got those, to be honest. All right, and then here is just a massive fleet of Humvees. And then what is that? Oh, Little Bird attack helicopters. Where do we recognize those from? Oh yeah, Delta Force actually uses those pretty much primarily. Interesting that they have a fleet of those too. Cool. All right, more Little Birds, more RG-33s. Yeah, and that's going to sort of wrap it up. All right, so as you can see, that does not look like the Taliban that we know from the last, or the Mujahideen from the last 40 or 50 years. That looks like a first world equipped military. And it's all, for the most part, American military, or bought by America. So that is just one small part of the parade. You can imagine there is probably 10x, 20x the amount of things there that they have access to besides that. All right, let's just actually talk about how much just what we're seeing in this small portion of the parade probably costs the American taxpayer. Okay, so every soldier, if you're looking at the ones, night vision, ops core helmets, body armor, M4, optics, radios, night vision goggles, if I didn't say that already, probably looking at $20,000 in equipment on the low end per soldier, and you can see hundreds and hundreds of soldiers wearing that. All right, all those ATVs, $3,000 to $5,000 a pop. Humvees, if they're not up armored, $40,000 a pop. A whole fleet of those. And obviously, you can see all the big guns on the back that they have mounted. More weapon systems, cost $5,000 to $10,000 for each one of those. RG-33s usually run about $1 million a piece. We got a full fleet of those. Strikers, close to $5 million a piece. Full fleet of those. Mi-17 helicopters, $15 million a pop. Cobra helicopter, about $11 million a pop. Little Bird helicopters, $2 million a pop. And then who knows how much those tanks cost. Okay, so just looking at what we saw here, minimum a couple $1 billion worth of military equipment, right? And that's probably, I don't know, I bet there's probably 20, 30 times that that they actually have access to. So, you know, $50 to $100 billion worth of military equipment, which is almost as much as we've given Ukraine in the entire conflict. So, is it an issue that the Taliban are one of the most well-equipped militaries in the world now? Well, you know, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I would venture on the side of saying that's probably not good for the region or the world. But let's talk about it, okay? Let's put up a, I'm going to put up a map here for you guys to see so that we can actually, and I'll take a look at it here too, we can actually talk about the region, okay, and why Afghanistan was actually so important strategically, and why leaving was, you know, you can say we shouldn't have been there or whatever, but from a strategic military standpoint, critical that we held those two Air Force bases, CAF and BAF, in Afghanistan. Why? Because of Afghanistan's strategic location in the region, okay? So if you look at this map, you can see, where does Afghanistan sit, all right? Afghanistan, and you actually can't see, Afghanistan actually touches and borders China as well to the east, okay? So Afghanistan borders our #1 adversary in China. It also borders probably our #2 adversary in Iran, okay? And we had 2 giant Air Force bases right there that also cuts off Iran from China, right, as strategic allies. So we completely gave that up. So what happened? Of course, China moved in. China pretty much controls Afghanistan now. They control the natural resources. They've made those deals with the Taliban. That's where we're at. All right, so why is that a problem for the region? Well, if you look sort of in the southern sort of quarter of Afghanistan, that's where you have Kandahar, Helmand, Farah, places like that. There's what's called, we called it the Heroin Silk Road. Okay, that runs through sort of a highway that runs through the southern part of Afghanistan from Pakistan into Iran. Okay, that's actually where they used to funnel all the heroin, drugs, weapons, explosives, right, in and out of the country to fight us. So where is that also going? Well, they now have 50 to 100 billions of dollars, 50 to 100 billion dollars worth of American military equipment. That is also being funneled to where? Through Iran, through Iraq, through Syria, into Lebanon to help fund and equip Hezbollah, into Gaza to help fund and equip Hamas. Okay, I don't care what you feel about that conflict. That's the reality of what's happening. Okay, much like if you saw what happened on October 7th in those pictures, Hamas has American military M4s. Where'd they get those? Well, most likely got them from Afghanistan, okay, from the Taliban. That's just a reality. So is it a problem that the Taliban on their own? We've always kind of said like Taliban aren't necessarily the problem, but the fact Islamic terrorist organizations are able to sort of embed into that, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, etc., that can become a problem. Okay, so the Taliban now are able to fund and equip terrorist organizations outside of Afghanistan in the region. That is not good. Okay, so what does the future hold with this? All right, it's hard to say. It's interesting. Had a former teammate who's in Delta had said to me after coming back from Iraq about a year or two ago that he suspected, and this isn't sensitive or anything, just off his own personal opinion of being there in the region, America would probably be forced back into full-scale conflict in either Iran or Afghanistan again within 5 years. Okay, I don't know if that'll pan out, but I can imagine it's getting more and more destabilized. We're seeing more and more nations jump into the fight against Israel. Is America going to allow that? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that conflict, but it is a problem that America has given up basically its stronghold in the Middle East. In the event that we have to go back there, we're probably going to be pretty hosed. Okay, if we need to fight a war in Iran and we no longer have our giant military bases in Afghanistan, it's going to be a pretty big problem. Okay, so also, you know, what's very interesting to me, and here's a picture of at the Olympics actually. I think one of the break dancers that had that flag out. We sort of, you know, the nation is up in arms about the Palestinians and the plight of the Palestinians. But man, we are sure quiet about all the Afghan women and children that we left behind to live under the tyranny that they live under. So it's really interesting, hypocritical, and virtue signaling, I see, because it's the same people who support the current administration who support, obviously, Palestine, but they don't care about Afghan women at all. So weird. I digress. I mean, I'm sure that's going to upset some people, but if you can explain to me why you care about one group of people more than the other, feel free to do so in the comment section, because that's the only thing I'm going to say back to you if you say anything. But yeah, guys, I think, you know, it's a crazy, crazy world we live in, that we just watch that military parade and it actually looks like the American military. It's just wild, right? So again, is there any chance that is not going to be a problem for the West in the next 5 to 10 years? No, I think there's a 0% chance, and we're going to see that boil over probably in the next couple of years. But I hope not. But you know, if we got to go back to the sandbox, wouldn't be shocked. It'd be great for the military-industrial complex, wouldn't it? All right, guys. I hope you found that interesting. Have a good day.